What's up, everybody? I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers, bringing you guys your daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractor, and Atlas. Go ahead and check them out in the description to this video. They are linked there for you. So we've got hail and wind in West Texas today, kind of a repeat of what we saw yesterday. But tomorrow's risk is going to kind of be this one expanded into a lot of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. Large hail is possible. We also do have a tornado and wind threat in place tomorrow as well. So we're going to go over all of today and tomorrow in a second here. So getting into just our current conditions for right now, it's really clear across most of the nation that low pressure system is working its way out into the Atlantic. So we got a lot of rain going on in the New England states, and then some showers in the Central Plains here, but really that's not going to affect our risk for today too much. It's going to be mostly centered over West Texas, where we've just got very light cloud cover, tons of daytime heating, and we even have a little bit of humidity making its way into the area, and that's going to help us out with those storms for today. But those temperatures are really beautiful. 71 degrees in Denver. I'm so jealous. 65 in Kansas City, 68 in Atlanta. Really gorgeous across most of the nation. Clear skies, great day to get out and about. As far as dew points go, again, this is just an indicator of how muggy it feels outside. And where you get those deep green values, it's a little bit more humid. So 57 degrees in Houston, 64 in San Antonio, and those higher dew points are working their way into the Midland, Odessa area, parts of New Mexico, and that'll help those storms continue to develop. For our instability, you can see those values kind of popping up there near Lubbock and near the Rio Grande area by around 3:30. That's about when storms are going to be initiating through the area. So we'll have a little bit of energy to work off of before those storms move through, and those CAPE values start to decrease a little bit as those storms use up the energy that there is available in the atmosphere, right? So taking a look at how that all plays out, we get those storms developing in that high instability area with those high dew points where it's nice and warm by 3:30, 4 p.m. Get a few of those isolated cells forming. We could get hail out of that. Some of it could reach ping pong golf ball size as they get going, but it's going to stay pretty scattered on terms of hail today, kind of like yesterday. Then we'll see storm mode change as it tracks towards Lubbock, and more of a wind threat with this bowing structure of storms that have all now clustered together. And then a couple of more isolated cells up in the Oklahoma and Texas panhandle areas. Those could also produce some hail as well. And then as those storms track off to the east, starting to fizzle out in the overnight, early morning hours, and that risk will, die down. So for hail today, quarters to half dollars anywhere possible from those panhandle areas all the way down into far south Texas. Some larger hail possible where we have better instability and those cells stay initially isolated. So ping pong to golf ball, like we said, and it's going to be pretty much from Midland, Odessa, all the way up into Amarillo, Guymon, Oklahoma. You guys could see some quarters to half dollars, just a couple of them. It's going to stay very scattered with this hail, with those isolated storms up in the panhandle areas, and then with any singular cells that we get forming through West Texas today, could get that larger hail, again, upwards of ping pong ball sized. Then for wind, again, same area really here. I'm going to outline all the way from the Oklahoma, Texas panhandles down through Amarillo, through Lubbock, down into Midland, Odessa today. Low end chances across the board. Better chance would be if you guys are in the Midland, Lubbock corridor where we're getting that bowing structure tracking through. But even gusts on this, I think, are going to stay below 60 for the most part. So, high severe wind gusts are going to be few and far between, but still possible today. So low end chance for everybody across the board on that. No tornado threat for today, but we'll get into it tomorrow. So here's our jet stream, here's this setup, and basically what's happening is we're between troughs. We got one out in the Atlantic for tomorrow, one out west, and then this big ridge in the middle of the nation. Don't usually see a ton of storms associated with ridges, but this trough is pushing a ton of baby shortwave troughs out into the Central Plains. So we got one there, we got, the major one forming up here, and it really just impacts everything below it. So when we get one wiggle in the jet stream there, it kind of impacts everything beneath it there. So we got that impacting Texas and Oklahoma into Thursday. Then it really starts to get going by Thursday evening, and that's when we could see storms do the same, kind of ramping up with more forcing associated from this little trough as we wait for this one to make its way through. Then it should gradually track east through Friday and then disappear entirely for your Saturday, but then we've got this larger scale trough to worry about for the weekend. So with that little forcing, we've also got a ton of influence from the Gulf streaming up that moisture into Texas and Oklahoma, through Houston, through Dallas, through OKC, all the way into Wichita with that super humid air. Lots of deep greens on our map here. Now, not a super sharp gradient in our moisture, so that doesn't help with, our fronts colliding, but it's enough with that forcing from that little trough to get us some storms along that sort of quasi-dry line that's forming by around Thursday, 4 p.m. Then it's going to continue, again, that trough is going to continue deepening, that dry line is going to continue to sharpen through the afternoon and evening, so that looks good for our setup. But then we have to worry about storm mode, and we'll get into that in a second. But for significant hail model, we've got some values here and there by 4 p.m., but we'll see it start to ramp up again as our conditions increase into the evening. We'll see a higher chance for large hail with our environmental conditions playing into effect there through Oklahoma all the way into central and south Texas for your Thursday evening. So based on all that, max hail size for tomorrow, I would not be surprised if, for today, going to leave it at tennis balls, 2.5 inch. Red swath would not shock me at all for tomorrow. But where it's going to land depends a lot on our storm mode. So whether we get isolated cells like we see here, or whether we get bands of storms forming, and then it could be more wind and small hail. So initially, Thursday at 5 p.m., we've got decent conditions for storms to form, and they do. There we go in South Texas, and we'll get to Oklahoma and Kansas in a second. But we got some isolated cells forming along I-20, all the way down through like South Texas here, and any of those could be producing large hail at that point by 5 p.m. But then quickly after, we start to see things shift. Now storms are starting to cluster together. We're getting more bands here. And so even though there could be very intense storms, they are likelier to start producing wind and less hail. We do still have a few isolated hailers between Waco and San Antonio by 7 p.m., but everything here is trying to transition into wind by 7 p.m. as it makes its way across I-35. 10 p.m. got a whole mess of rain, windy storms, and possibly some small hail now into the overnight hours before it makes its way out of Texas into your Friday, and we have a potential for more storm development for Friday, which we'll get to. But for Oklahoma and Kansas here, again, there goes storm initiation now around 4 p.m., a little bit earlier if you guys are further north. Any of those could be doing hail as well as potential tornado. There's enough rotation to get us some supercells out of these storms. So hail and tornadoes, both possible with those. Then as things track eastward, there you go, Oklahoma City, got storms hitting by around 5, 6 p.m. So right at the end of your workday, be prepared to potentially, hit some traffic with those showers and potentially severe storms moving through. Just be aware of that by, again, the end of your day. And then more isolated cells tracking through with potential for hail and tornadoes making their way across Oklahoma. Now, as things move towards Wichita and Tulsa, kind of the same deal as Texas, we lose that isolated storm mode and move towards now a wind shift. So into Tulsa, making its way across I-40 here, could potentially see more of a wind threat with any of those storms in Oklahoma and Kansas, and then finally shifting off east into Arkansas for your Friday. So putting all that together into tomorrow's hail forecast, quarters to $50 possible anywhere through that risk area. Largest hail is going to be where storms are initially forming and we get those supercell structures to be likeliest. So, any potentially rotating cells could produce tornadoes as well as large hail all the way through western Oklahoma and parts of central Texas. So if you guys are anywhere from Wichita Falls down into San Antonio, even Laredo, you guys could get some large hail into tomorrow. Specifically, Wichita Falls and Abilene look like they're right near where those storms are initially forming, and so large hail possible for you, moderate for you guys. And then same for San Antonio. Looks like those isolated cells hang on right as they're getting into the city. So for you guys, got a moderate chance as well. DFW and Waco, things look like they may line out at this point. So putting you guys in a low could change as of tomorrow, so you definitely want to stay tuned and see what happens. But got a low for you guys at this point as things track over your way. Then up into Oklahoma and Kansas, got a moderate for Oklahoma City, and anywhere like Weatherford over here, Woodward could potentially see larger hail with same deal, isolated supercells, but anywhere outside of that is going to be in the low end chance as things change from their storm mode and we potentially get more of a wind risk tracking your way. So for our most at risk cities for tomorrow's hail, just going over it, recapping a little bit, Wichita Falls, Texas, you got a moderate to high, better chance for you guys and potentially Abilene to see those isolated cells tracking over you guys producing large hail. San Angelo, Oklahoma City, moderate chance for you guys. Then once you get down into like Austin, you're kind of in between Waco and San Antonio where you got that potential for those supercells to hang on as they track over you guys. Storm mode may be shifting, so lowering your chances a little bit, so low to moderate. And then DFW, Wichita at this point are in a low for hail, but again, things could change tomorrow, so definitely stay tuned into your forecast if you're in any of those cities at all. So for wind, I'm going to extend things a little bit more towards Fort Smith, but overall keeping things pretty similar to our hail risk area. Wichita Falls, Abilene, San Antonio, back in the moderate for you guys to see strong winds, DFW and Waco. It looks like storms just maybe kind of dying out as they track over you. Dodge City, Wichita, Fort Smith, low end for you guys, and moderate for Oklahoma City as well for wind. Then for tornado risk, looks like the area with the most rotation in the atmosphere, or wind shear, as we like to call it, as well as those isolated cells, is going to be centered between Wichita Falls and really the Tulsa area there. So gonna leave it in a low because things are pretty scattered, but this area is the most prone for tornadoes tomorrow with the environmental setup. So again, bottom line, if you guys are in any of those cities for today or tomorrow, turn on those weather alerts, stay tuned. Tomorrow could be a little bit busier than today, a little more coverage on your storms. So if you guys are anywhere in the South Plains, now's the time to pay attention. You guys can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Hit See First on Facebook so you never miss a live video. Smash that subscribe button everywhere else. And then to get in contact with us, you can call us at 855-334-4245. Email us at info@hailtrace.com. Check out hailtrace.com for more details. Or scan that QR code up above me. Click the link in our description to get access to our products. And thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe out there. And for now, I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers. Thanks again for watching.